Today we're mumbling, repeating ourselves, and finding perfect squares. Do I make myself clear? Hello world, and this is versus Codewars. Given an integer perfect square, this function will find the next perfect square after that. Let's go ahead and get started. One good way to tell if the integer passed in is a perfect square is to do something like this. First, get the square root of the square. And then check to see if the floor of that square root and the square root itself are equal. If it's not, then we know we're not dealing with a perfect square here. So just return -1. And what we're going to do here, we're looking for the next perfect square. So I imagine we just go ahead and return square root plus 1 times square root plus 1. Because we're looking for the next perfect square. Let's go ahead and see what this does. Node next perfect square. Let's see, 121 gives us 144. 625 gives us 676, and 114 gives us -1 because 114 is not a perfect square. Let's go ahead and submit this. Copy. Train. We need to rename this find next square. We're going to hit test. Our test passed. We're going to try to submit it. And we are good. And we're good. Another way to determine in JavaScript if a number is a perfect square is that if you take that number and run it through math.squareRoot, and then take the return value of that and modulo that by 1, that is, divide it by 1 and get the remainder. If that remainder is 0, then the number is a perfect square. Here we're mumbling, returning this string into this string. Without further ado, let's go. First, we're going to go ahead and split this string into its separate characters. Next, what we're going to do is hit chars.map. We're going to need the char and the index of the resulting array. I think it's char.toUppercase. And then just string of our char.toLowercase.repeat. Some kind of repeat function. Let's see what we can do here. Wait a minute. if I try it like this. Huh. That might not work. And again, I have another idea. Char dot. That might work. Array index dot fill char dot to lowercase dot join. Let's see what that looks like. That seems to give us the result almost that we want. All we need to do is stop join the resulting array with a dash. And I think we are good to submit this. And go ahead and hit train. Run the tests. They all pass, and we're going to try to submit this. And we are good. As it turns out, the string object in JavaScript does have a repeat method. You just pass in the number of times you want the string repeated, and that method will return that string repeated that many times. So, instead of allocating a new array, filling it with that lowercase letter, and then joining that array together, I could have just used that lowercase letter and called the repeat method on it to save a lot of typing. You'll see that in use in the next kata. In this function, we are repeating the given string exactly n times. Let's get right to that. I learned something very interesting when I was doing the Mumbling kata before. There's actually a function in JavaScript strings called repeat that'll allow us to repeat a certain string at given a number of times. Let's go ahead and try that. Return str. We're going to call repeat, and we're going to pass in times. Feed that in the node. And we have hello 5 times. Let's go ahead and submit that. This was relatively straightforward. Let's go ahead and submit that. And we are good. But before we go, we're going to try to implement this without the repeat function. So I'm going to go ahead and hit train again. And we're going to go ahead and try implementing this without using the repeat function. So what we're going to do is for let result equals a blank string, we're going to return that result. We're going to run for let I equal 0, I less than times plus plus I. And we're going to concatenate our result with our string. Again, relatively straightforward. Let's feed that in the node. And we have 5 hellos again. Copy that. And so I'll let them know it's without using string.repeat. Run the tests, and we're going to submit it. Man, we are good. And that will do it for this second episode of Versus Codewars. Now, please forgive me if the episode's subtitle on these videos keeps saying the same Kata name. I promise I'll do better with that in future videos. If you like this video, drop a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. As always, if there's anything I can do to improve my code, feel free to suggest something in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next episode of Versus Codewars.